You're listening to Men of Abundance, episode 104, with Dr. Phil Carson.
Welcome to Men of Abundance, the podcast for those looking to level up their lives by hanging out with some of the greatest leaders and established professionals in our community, living a life of integrity, honor, and the abundance mentality. Prepare to pay it forward with your host, former Army medic turned lifestyle entrepreneur, Wally Carmichael.
Heidi-ho, Men of Abundance. I don't know where that came from, but I just felt like saying heidi-ho for whatever reason. Hey, listen, I am Wally Carmichael, your host of the Men of Abundance podcast, and if you're brand new to Men of Abundance, I truly appreciate you tuning in, giving us a try, taking a listen, and seeing what we can do for you in your life today. Look, all we're trying to do here is enhance your mindset a little bit and get away from the scarcity mindset into the abundance mindset. And the way that we do that here at Men of Abundance, for the most part, is we have conversations with amazing people from all walks of life who are on the path to figuring this stuff out. And I say on the path because none of us really have it fully figured out. We're all on our own journeys. We're all living our own life of abundance in our own right, and we're just here sharing some of that with you. We share the kick in the gut moments. We share the enough is enough moment where we make that pivot point. We're sharing our lives with you, and we're getting vulnerable with you so that you can see that while your situation may be unique to you, it's not that different from anybody else who has lived through adversity in some way in their life, whether it's divorce, death, sickness, some sort of financial issues. I mean, you name it. We've had over 130 conversations with people here on Men of Abundance, and the gamut is long. But it all comes down to making a decision to either let that keep you down and live in the scarcity mindset, or take on the abundance mindset and start taking action to make changes and make a difference in your life. And then to really be abundant in your life is to pay it forward and help somebody else along the way who is in a similar situation where you were. Basically, turning your mess into a message. You don't have to go global with that. You just have to reach out to your next door neighbor, the kid down the street, somebody, one of your coworkers, your own kids, your own family members. Pay it forward, help them out, help them live a life of abundance. And listen, another really easy way for you to be abundant in your life today is to pay it forward and share Men of Abundance with everybody you come in contact with. You can share the podcast episode from whatever podcast player it is that you're using. There's usually a share button, a share option in the podcast player. You can share the website, menofabundance.com, on any of your social media. Share it out on the Twitter, share it on Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is that you're hanging out on, or just write it on a piece of paper and give it to somebody. It's really that simple, but the bottom line is this. Many men around the world are looking for this information and looking for this type of guidance. Do your part, be abundant in your life today, and pay it forward by sharing Men of Abundance with somebody. Now, normally I would post a new conversation on Men of Abundance on Thursday, and then on Friday we have our Pay It Forward Aloha Friday. But this week and for the next couple of weeks, you're going to be getting 2 shows, really 3 shows a week. You're going to get 2 interview episodes, and you're going to get the Pay It Forward Aloha Friday. The reason for that is, quite frankly, I've got so many conversations in the queue. I am just sitting at the edge of my seat to share them with you. And so I'm doubling up for a couple weeks to try to get caught up, because right now I have shows that are ready to and scheduled to post all the way out into March of 2018. Yes, March. It's crazy. So this week and today, starting today, you're going to listen to Dr. Phil Carson, and we're going to have an amazing conversation about natural solutions to improving your health. And this is coming from a pharmacist. And Dr. Phil and I are going to be talking about living until you die. Then on Thursday, I'm going to share a conversation with you that I had with Cole Hatter. Now, this conversation is really going to blow your mind, because technically Cole should have died twice in 2 tragic accidents where his best friends at 2 individual accidents died right next to him, and he should have been included in that. We're going to talk about how he lived through that, both physically and mentally, and we talk about how he turned his mess into a very powerful message that you are not going to want to miss. So make sure you subscribe to Men of Abundance on your favorite podcast player. Speaking of subscribing, I've also got a Men of Abundance YouTube channel. Well, it's not quite called Men of Abundance yet. The title is Men of Abundance, but the URL is not Men of Abundance. I need your help with this. Number one, you're going to be able to see my messages that I broadcast from here in Hawaii, from one of the beaches that I just happen to be on, or if it's too windy, from my back lanai or wherever I happen to be. And you're going to be able to enjoy that scenery while listening to one of my messages of the week. While you're there, please do us a favor and subscribe to that channel so that I can secure the URL youtube.com/Men of Abundance. I greatly appreciate it, and also that way more people, even more people around the world can find these conversations that we're having here on Men of Abundance. All right, so let me introduce you to our featured guest today. I don't know if you realize this or not, but too many Americans are living as prisoners in their own bodies, held captive by bad habits that have drained them from their own livelihood and sentenced them to a premature death. These harsh realities are what kept Dr. Phil Carson passionate about practicing pharmacy since 1985. After encountering many patients who were seeking answers when their own needs were not met by traditional medicine, Dr. Phil founded Carson Natural Health in 2005 with the mission of helping patients find the best natural solutions to their health problems. Dr. Phil is passionate about improving his patients' quality of life and encouraging everyone he comes in contact with to living healthier lives and transform their overall health into a blessing, not a burden. He shares many golden nuggets about how to thrive in health, along with breaking through tragedy and stepping into triumph in his book, How to Live Until You Die. Men of Abundance, it is my honor to introduce you to Dr. Phil Carson. Phil, welcome to the show, man.
Oh, Wally, thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me on your show. It's an honor to be with you today.
It truly is, and I really have to take just a second to give a shout out to Interview Valet, to Cara, to Karen, to Tom, and all the folks over at Interview Valet, because quite frankly, they really send me some super quality men and women to talk to and to share their stories here on Men of Abundance. So thank you, Interview Valet, and the whole team over there.
Oh, yeah, I agree. They're great people.
They really are. So where are you at in the world today, Phil?
I am actually in my office today at the Life Transformation Medical Center in a little town called Amory, Mississippi, right outside of Tupelo, Mississippi.
I drove through Mississippi one time on my way to Florida and on the way back to Texas. But that's about, well, no, you know what? I take that back. I was in Pascagoula, Mississippi many years ago. I was stationed in Panama, and they have this boat. It's called the LCU. I think the model was LCU 2000. It's one of these ones that the ramp comes down in the front, and you can drive on like 6 Greyhound buses. Yeah. Well, it's a military transport between the islands out there, and the bow thruster was busted. So they had to have anytime they're at sea for more than 8 hours, they have to have a medic on board, and I was a medic. So fortunately for me, I got to go on a 5-day cruise on an Army vessel from Panama to Mississippi and sit in Mississippi for 30 days while the boat was getting fixed, and we just had a good old time. I got to go see ZZ Top and down in Biloxi, and
yeah, awesome.
It was a good time. It's an interesting place, very interesting place.
Oh yeah, that's Ingalls Shipyard. They make a lot of the ships for the military down there.
Yeah, very cool. I never even knew the name of it, so thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was quite young at that time. I was in my early 20s, very early 20s.
Yeah.
Well, before we get too much into the show there, Dr. Phil, I'd really like to start out with an attitude of gratitude. What do you have to be grateful for today?
Oh, man, I tell you, I'm grateful for my beautiful wife who has stuck with me for 33 years now. We just celebrated our 33rd anniversary last month, and I'm grateful for her and the 5 kids that she has helped me produce. And now we have one granddaughter from one of those 5 kids, so I'm grateful for her and our beautiful family.
Well, congratulations. 33 years, you say?
Yep, 33 years.
Man, that's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. Congratulations on that, and to your wife for putting up with you for that long.
Oh yeah. I tell people I'm a blessed man.
You and me both, brother. You and me both. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So I went over a little bit about what you do and who you, and a little bit about who you are, but really here on Men of Abundance, we like to get a little bit deeper and get more personal, and really like to get to know the man behind the abundance. So if you could share a few things with us that are, let's get a little bit personal.
Oh yeah. Well, I've been a pharmacist since 1985, and I got out of pharmacy school, went right to work for a big chain operation. And I thought, man, I've got it made now, and I'm done with school. I've got a great job, and I found out what stress was all about with this big chain operation. I tell people I thought pharmacy school was stressful, but man, when I got thrown into, after a year of being with this company, when I got thrown into a position as a manager of the store, I found out what stress was. Dealing with a big company that required all kinds of reports day in and day out, working long hours, dealing with staff that was sometimes hard to deal with. It was a major stress headache in my life, and it created a lot of health issues for me. As a young guy, I became pretty sick with major digestive issues, and I tell people, back then I was sleeping in a recliner most nights because I couldn't lay down flat in the bed. It was putting a lot of stress in my life all the way around. As a newlywed with my wife, and all the stress of dealing with everything as a young guy running an operation like that, it was pretty tough. And one of the ways that got me moving toward what I do now, which is more functional medicine and natural medicine. People look at me funny sometimes when I tell them what I do at being a pharmacist, because they think, well, why are you doing that? You're supposed to be dispensing drugs and medications, and you're telling people not to take medications. You're telling people to take a supplement or herbal product instead, or you're telling people to do, talking to people about lifestyle change. They think, they don't understand that. And but one of the things that moved me in that direction was my own health, and trying to find an answer for my health problems that I wasn't finding with traditional medicine. The drugs I was taking, the antacids I was consuming way too many of every day, was just giving me some temporary relief. So I had to find something that would help more than the help I was getting from those. And so I started looking at other areas, and I picked up a book one day on natural medicine that this doctor had written. I started reading, and I found in this book the answer to my problem. And of course the stress was a large part of it, but the symptoms I was dealing with because of the stress, I found natural solutions for. And so I started putting these into action, started taking the things that he was suggesting, and I got real relief. It totally changed my life, changed my world, and I was able to not just get relief or temporary relief from my symptoms, but I was able to what I call cure my problem. And it just made a tremendous difference. And fortunately, I got out of that situation after 2 years of being in that operation. I was offered a job with a small independent, and that took care of a lot of the stress issues there, because it was not a high pressure operation where I had to do all these kind of reports. And instead of managing about 10 or 12 employees, I was managing 2. And so made a tremendous difference in the stress. But because of what I learned about myself and what I could do for myself naturally, I wanted to learn more. And I had patients that were asking me, well, what can I take for this situation I've got? I don't want to take a medication. Or they would ask me about herbal products, and I had no clue what they were talking about, because I was taught the history of natural medicine in pharmacy school, not the application of it. So I started taking courses. I started going across the country to all the different places where they were offering these weekend courses and certification courses rather, and got certified in multiple natural therapies. And I started putting it all into practice, and people started, getting results, and that excited me even more. And I'd have people come back and thank me for telling them about a particular natural product, or telling them about a lifestyle change they could make that would help their situation. And I became known, after a few years, as the go-to person for natural products and natural information and natural therapies in our area. And it's just kind of grown from that. So that's where I am today, practicing functional medicine with a doctor friend of mine in a clinic that we opened up last year called the Life Transformation Medical Center.
Wow, that's a lot to take in right there. Now, the things that I take away from that, and that I really want to point out, that I want to make sure that our abundant leaders catch, is one thing that you did there, and you're very fortunate to be able to do that, is to change your environment, because ultimately the catalyst really was the stress, it seems like. And you were able to do that, and it's hard for some people to make that decision. Some people think the opportunity is not there, but I truly believe the opportunity is there if you really are willing to look for it and to receive that. And thank God for that, for you and your health and your family, without a doubt. But then the other thing was you found this book that started getting you on a different path as far as your health was concerned. Mm-hmm. Now, I've had many conversations with doctors. I've been in the medical field for many, many years. And I've had conversations with doctors here on Men of Abundance. Yeah. And the one thing that my wife and I, we very rarely take medications of any sort. Even if I have a headache, I'm going to, drink more water. I'm going to meditate on it. I'm going to breathe properly. I'm going to get out in the sun. There's just certain things that I do on a natural level before I will resort to taking any sort of painkiller or anything like that. And that's just our choice. And because we see what medications do to people, like you said, they're more of a Band-Aid. They don't really fix the problem. And this conversation I try to have with so many people is, I don't want to paint a picture. I never want to really paint a picture that the entire industry is just out to make money, because a lot of what pharmaceuticals do, there are some amazing things that we have in our world today that do help a lot of people on so many different levels, for mental issues, physical issues, and everything in between. But what is your take on why so many doctors will prescribe medications and not end up doing what you do now, in that, kind of trying to educate and take other remedies? What do you think that is?
Oh, yeah. Well, one of the things, it is the way that they've been trained. Mm-hmm. It's the way I was trained back in the late 70s, early 80s, going through pharmacy school, and it's the way most doctors are training, what they're taught in school. But there's a doctor that I loved this quote from Dr. Royal Lee, and he says, one of the biggest tragedies of human civilization is the precedence of chemical therapy over nutrition. It's a substitution of artificial therapy over nature, of poisons over food, in which we are feeding people poisons trying to correct the reactions of starvation. And a lot of times that's exactly the case. We're suffering, we're sick because we're deficient. We're starving our bodies are starving for nutrients that it has to have for all kinds of different functions in our bodies. And a lot of times chemicals are being prescribed to take care of a deficiency in the body, and doctors are not trained to look deeper into these nutritional deficiencies and these problems that are caused by mainly the diet that we have in the United States today. What's called, a lot of people call it SAD, the standard American diet, and is so void of nutrition. And so there's so many people that are walking around that are deficient in all kinds of nutrients, and one of the major things that people are deficient in is water. A lot of people are walking around partially dehydrated because they don't drink enough water. And these are things that are not typically addressed by the medical profession and looked at because we've been trained, hey, look for the symptoms, treat the symptoms with a medication. And you're absolutely right. There's a place for medications, and a lot of medications have saved a lot of lives. But over the recent years, there has been too much abuse with medications and overuse of medications. I did, as a pharmacist, I've worked in all kinds of roles as a pharmacist. I've practiced in many different areas of pharmacy. And one area that I practiced in for a few years was consulting, nursing home consulting. I would go in these nursing homes and review the medication charts, make recommendations, therapy recommendations, that kind of stuff. And I would see patients in there, on sometimes 15, 20 different meds because they were being prescribed one med and then they would be prescribed another med for the side effects of that med. And a lot of the medications they were being prescribed were for exactly what I'm talking about here. They were nutritionally deficient. And they needed nutrients in a lot of cases, not a drug, to relieve the symptoms caused by that deficiency. So it's a problem, and it's something that it really needs to be addressed, and it really needs to be looked at more closely by everybody in the medical profession.
It really does. I 100% agree, without a doubt. I've had so many conversations with people who had medication on top of medication, just like you just said, one to fix this, one to fix that, but if you take this one, you can't take that one, and then this one causes this problem, but fixes this problem, but causes this problem, so you got to take this other one. It's a vicious circle, and I've had people that I've had conversations with just 100% just get fed up and said, you know what, I'm not taking another medication. Doctors would get pissed off at them, because that's their training, and I get that. And they would go on and they would find some sort of natural remedy. I've done this myself. I was supposed to be put on, I had low testosterone. So they gave me this testosterone patch. I look at the patch and it says, well, before you apply this, you have to have a prostate exam and you have to be tested for cancer. That was never done. And this other stuff. And then I looked at all these other side effects, possible side effects, and I just looked at it and I said, you know what? I'm going to do some other research. I'm going to find something else. I ended up taking a supplement, a natural supplement, and it corrected my low testosterone. And then I go back and they're like, well, you can stop taking the testosterone patches. And I was like, I never did. The box is still never even opened. I have it at home. And they're like, what? I did the same thing with my cholesterol. My cholesterol was out of control. They wanted to put me on Lipitor. And when I went back, because I worked for a doctor, and he said, how did you do this? How did you go from in 28 days change from where you were at to where you are now to where you're literally absolutely perfect on the charts? I said, I just changed my meal plan. I just made some corrections, some life changes. I increased my physical activity, and I started eating properly. I started taking different supplements and whatnot. Natural stuff, and they're like, wow, this is truly amazing. And sometimes when you say what you did, you're going to say, well, that's not it. I'm like, well, how is that not it? This is the only thing I changed in my life, and it went from this to this. So I'm a huge advocate of trying natural remedies long before taking the route of taking a medication.
Absolutely. And I've seen some of the same things with patients. It's amazing, and I tell people all the time, one of the number one things you can do to improve your cholesterol levels is to drink more water. Because I had a patient one time that extremely high cholesterol, high triglycerides. Their primary drink was Mountain Dew. I said, stop drinking the Mountain Dew, start drinking more water, and that did it. That's all he had to do. He didn't need a statin drug, just needed to drink more water. And so, yeah, it does make a difference, and that's what I try to teach people, and that's my mission is to try to teach people about those lifestyle changes. Sometimes it's just something simple like that. A simple lifestyle change can make all the difference in the world in our health and in those numbers that are talked about and preached about and watched so closely sometimes by the medical profession.
Right. Yes. Water is, quite frankly, the miracle drug. Part of my morning routine, the very first thing I do before I do anything else is I get a tall glass of water with like half of a lemon that I squeeze in there and some the Himalayan pink salt.
Himalayan salt.
Yeah, Himalayan salt, and I just drink that down. That's the very first thing I do every single, because I've been sleeping for 7 to 8 hours and completely dehydrated when I wake up in the morning. I know so many people that the first thing they do, and I did this for many years, is grab a cup of coffee, or if I was going to go work out, I generally wouldn't drink coffee. That's my thing. I just couldn't drink coffee before a workout. But in the other case, they would just go straight out to the workout and without having any hydration whatsoever, and then wonder why they get cramps, why they get a muscle injury, so on and so forth. And I did the same thing with another friend of mine who she contacted me and said, I want to lose weight. And I said, okay, what's your meal plan look like? I need you to be straight honest with me. And she was drinking 2 to 3 liters of soda a day. Day. And I've seen guys with I was in a class one time, you bring up Mountain Dew, I was in a class one time where a guy brought 2 1-liter bottles of Mountain Dew, sat them on the desk, and those were gone like by noon.
Wow.
And he needed that to stay awake. I'm like, dude, hydrate. That's why most people are falling asleep at the end of the day, because they're dehydrated sitting at the desk, and so anyhow, this lady that I went to school with, I said, just do what you can to completely cut out the soda. I know it's going to be hard, but for 1 week, cut out the soda and just drink water. She lost almost 10 pounds. Wow. And she felt amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, it really is. Water is just so important. So, you brought up your personal story and stuff like that, but was there anything else that was kind of a catalyst, like a kick in the gut moment with somebody else that you knew or one of your patients that you'd be able to share with us? And because I just know, and being a pharmacist and doing everything that you're doing, this is the first time I've actually, like I said, I've had conversations with doctors, but I've never had a conversation with an actual pharmacist on this subject. So I've got so many questions. We can be here for way more time than what we actually have on my just to validate my own thought process personally, and to share that with our abundant leaders out there, Men of Abundance. But I'd love for you to share with us a kick in the gut moment that really kind of either personal or on a professional level.
Oh yeah. Well, I've got a lot of those kick in the gut moments, Wally. A whole lot of them. But I've had on a personal level. I'll share this one with you. That I started Carson Natural Health back in 2005. 2006, I opened up Carson Natural Health and Wellness Center, brick and mortar operation that was to be a natural health food store and a natural pharmacy, and a place where I could do coaching and consulting with people on a natural level, people that were seeking those kind of things out, because I had a pharmacy that I had opened up in 1999, and then we had kind of outgrown it. We were kind of more of an integrated pharmacy where we did both, but Carson Natural Health Center was to be just for natural. And we had a health food store in the front of it, and consulting rooms in the back, and we were doing a lot of good things there. And I had both operations going, trying to run both operations, trying to do as much as I possibly could myself, and I sank everything I had into these operations. And you know what happened with the economy in 2008, 2009? The economy, went down. Everything turned upside down, and I became a casualty of that downturn in the economy. I ended up losing both operations, lost everything I had except for my house. Fortunately, I was able to hang on to it, and but that was a kick in the gut. That was something I never ever expected to happen to me, I had seen it happen to other people where they would, lose everything, but I never thought it would happen to me. I had been successful in growing 2 operations, and they were doing pretty well, but I was heavily in debt and trying to do too much myself, and didn't hire the correct people I should have hired to help me with certain things, and I lost it all. And it was tough situation. And I tell people all the time, in 2009, December 31st, 2009, I locked the door on that second operation that I had started. I locked the door on my dream because it was my dream to have that kind of operation and to help as many people as I could with natural products and natural therapies. And I had to lock the door and walk away from it. And it was tough, extremely tough.
Yeah, I can hear it in your voice for sure. I mean, that's almost like, putting one of your kids down. Yeah, I mean, just shutting the doors like that on your dream, and you had 2 babies there that you nurtured and built and grew, and then all of a sudden it's all basically taken out from you without any control of your own. And I can really feel that. So, what was the pivot point? At what point were you able to turn all of that around?
Well, fortunately, I had a friend of mine that I had helped out a couple of years earlier when he was needing some work, and I had let him do some relief work for me, pharmacist friend of mine, and he had gone on and gotten a really good job in a neighboring town, and he called me one day and he said, "Hey, we're expanding this operation I'm working for. We're growing. I need some more help. Can you come go to work for us?" I said, "Sure. I don't have anything else to do right now." And so went to work for them, and it was a godsend. It was a blessing because it was a salary. It was money coming in to help take care of my family. I had 2 kids in college at the time, and 3 had got a total of 5 kids, and it was a struggle. To do everything we could to make ends meet and try to stay afloat, and but this job was a blessing and a godsend, and so I worked as many hours as I could. I worked extra hours trying to make extra money, working overtime and working in different parts of the operation. Wherever they needed me, I would go, and so that helped a lot. But in 2012, a friend of mine that I knew had a big diabetes care operation where he serviced diabetic patients all over the country with diabetes supplies, came to me and he said, "Hey, I need some help. I want to ask you about helping me open up a pharmacy. I want you to partner with me and open up a pharmacy with me, because the insurance model is changing, and these insurance companies are demanding that my patients get their supplies from a pharmacy now instead of from us." He said, "I'm losing them left and right. Can you help me?" And I said, "Well, I don't have any money to invest." I told him my story. To him, I lost everything, and he said, "Well, just think about it. We'll work something out." So my wife and I talked about it. We prayed about it. We sat down with him, and he said, "Look, I'll put up the money. You've got your expertise, your license. I had a little bit of equipment I could use as well." So we decided to do it. We said, "What have we got to lose?" And so I worked 6 months in this operation, moonlighting. I kept my other job. I would work on the weekends. I'd work at nights for no pay. For 6 months, I took no pay, trying to get this business going and get it up and running, and as part of my investment in the company. After 6 months, it was doing well enough for me to start drawing a small salary out of it. So I had that extra money coming in, which helped tremendously. 1 year to the date after we opened that operation up, I had to quit the job and go to work full-time in our new operation. Last year, I sold my shares in the company to go back and pursue my dream of natural pharmacy and natural therapies and being a natural practitioner. And because of that, and because of when I sold, we had grown from one operation to 5, and my partner wanted to keep growing, wanted to keep opening up more stores and doing this. And I said, that's not the direction I want to go in, and I really would love to go back and pursue my dream. And so that's what happened last year. As I mentioned, Dr. Friend and I opened up the Life Transformation Medical Center, and I'm back doing what my passion is, what I love to do, and helping people find natural solutions to their health problems, help people find the underlying cause of their health problems, like I did several years ago, and not just put a Band-Aid on it, not just give them something to relieve symptoms, but help them find out what that root cause is and change their life.
Dr. Phil, I really have a huge smile on my face right now, and I'm just almost to tears, seriously, because, wow, that's an amazing story, and it's just amazing that you went through all of that and you did everything you had to do to make ends meet, and then to have the opportunities and the connections and to make that decision. But I think one of the best decisions that you made in that whole process, when it all came down to it, was that company wanted to grow, and I'm envisioning you going back to where you originally started, working with that corporation and having so much stress.
Yeah.
And I think you saw the writing on the wall, and it was like, not only was it time to go because of that, but also you were back in a position to where you were financially and just ready. The economy was right, and everything was seemed to be the right time. Not that it's ever going to be exactly the right time. This is what holds so many people back. But you went and pursued your dreams. So one, you deferred the stress of growing bigger with another corporation, another company, and then on the other side, taking that very stressful decision to leave that and leave your job. First you left your job, a paycheck, to pursue the business. Then you left the business to pursue your own dream. So much going on there, and so many emotions I can just imagine.
Oh yeah, it was. And the struggle of all of that, of losing everything and going through that process and through those steps. I have to tell you, Wally, one of the things that carried me through all that was my faith. My faith in God, and my wife's faith and her faith in me as well. And when things like that happen, a lot of times it tears a marriage apart, it tears a family apart when people go through financial struggles like that. And but we grew stronger. We bonded together because we held on to each other, we held on to our faith, and we kept believing. And in my book that I recently wrote, and that's another thing. Last year, I had the wonderful blessing and opportunity to work on a book and write a book last year that you mentioned earlier. And I tell part of my story is in that book, and about the struggle in our faith of getting through that struggle of losing it all and trying to put the pieces back together. But one of the things that I tell people quite often is that I believe the reason why I am where I am today, enjoying the blessings of being financially independent, financially totally debt free, and enjoying pursuing my passion and my dream again, is because of that faith, and because we didn't give up, and we didn't lay down and quit, even though many times I felt like doing that and I wanted to. And we didn't quit living. We didn't quit living our lives and doing the things that we had always done. And one of those things was giving, and being a giver, and helping people, and giving in every way we could. And I get emotional thinking about it, but it's something that I believe, because we kept that attitude, and we kept giving, that we got blessed. And so many things that planting seeds for a harvest, is a way to look at it. And that harvest came. And we're enjoying the harvest today from the seeds we planted.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Man, thanks for sharing that. Man, you can see right here, this is exactly what I'm talking about in living a life of abundance. When you're down and those peaks and valleys, always keeping that abundant mentality above all, and it works out. It really does work out.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love it. I want you to real quickly, because we got to get into I want to get into the pay it forward part of this show, but real quickly, talk to us a little bit about the motivation of how to live until you die.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, that's something that I see so many people that I describe it this way. There's so many people that are living to die, but I have the mentality that we should be dying to live. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is some people just say, "Hey, we're all going to die." I mean, that, we've got that time it's coming. We're all dying now, and some people are just out there just living to die. I mean, they're doing whatever, and they're living any way they want to, not caring about their health, not caring about what's going on. They're just living. But I am of the opinion that we need to be dying to live. And when I say that, I mean we need to die to the things in our lives that are keeping us from living while we're dying. Mm-hmm. And I want to live while I'm dying. I want to really live. I want to really enjoy life. I want to be able to do the things that I want to do physically. So if I want to do that, then I've got to die to some selfish desires sometimes, or I've got to die to the desire to sit on the couch and watch TV. And I've got to die to that desire to eat whatever I want to eat, and make the choice to eat healthier. I've got to make that choice to get up off the couch and exercise if I really want to live while I'm dying. And so that's what I mean by that. And so many people, just have that mentality. Well, I'm going to die anyway, so what does it matter? But what I teach and what I preach to people is it does matter. Your life matters. It matters to you. It matters to somebody else how you live and what you're doing with your life. And there's people that are depending on you. And I try to inspire people and motivate people. Hey, if you won't do it for yourself, do it for the people who love you and care about you. But we need to change our mindset. We need to change our mentality about the things that we need to be doing to take care of our bodies, take care of our minds, our souls, our spiritual life as well, so that we can live a full life while we're living. And so many people are not living that full life and not enjoying life to the fullest. And that's what I'm all about and what I want people to see and be inspired to do.
I love it. Absolutely love it. And it's just so sad to see people live that way, especially those who want to live, want to truly live, but they're always waiting for, well, as soon as I make this income, or as soon as I finish this college course, or as soon as I do this, or as soon as I do that. Well, you got to do it today.
That's right.
Today. Because I've had a conversation, this is kind of an odd conversation really, but I had a conversation with a guy who is on his deathbed, and he's rather young, and he knows, he's terminal. And I thought to myself, and I even said it verbally out loud to him, I said, because he was asking, things that he should do in life and stuff like this. I said, you kind of have a blessing, if you will, in that we're all going to die, but most people don't know when. It could be you step out of your front door and get, who knows, something falls out of an airplane, for goodness sake, and it lands right at your front door. Or I talked to a guy recently who a truck, while he was sleeping, a truck came through his living room and killed his wife, and he ended up in the kitchen. Woke up in the kitchen type of thing. You just never know. And this gentleman that I was talking to, he, knows he's only got a matter of months. And I was like, well, you're living, he's living his life every day. I mean, he's doing things he would have put off for years. Because now he knows and he's not doing it selfishly. He's doing things with his family, and he's given that time and he's given them that experience, because all he can do right now is give them experiences to remember him by, right?
Yeah.
And so many people are just waiting for what? To collect those experiences, not just for yourself, but to carry on with other people. And that's how I believe we should build a legacy. So many people want to build a legacy in, a business or income or something like that. Build a legacy of experiences that really don't cost a whole lot of money. It's more time than anything.
That's right. That's right. And I tell people all the time, Wally, we don't know, and I talk about this in my book as well. We don't know what our days are. We don't know how many days we've got. But what I want to do with whatever the days that I have, I want them to be quality days. It's more about the quality of life to me than it is the quantity of life. Mm-hmm. I may get 100 days on this. 100 years on this earth, and if I do, I want them to be quality years. I don't want to spend the last years of my life sick and not knowing who I am or where I am. I want them to be quality years, quality life all the way through.
Absolutely. I love it.
And for that to happen, I tell people, you've got to do something about it now. You've got to be proactive. You got to take care of yourself now if you want to have those quality days when you get to be 80 years old or 90 years old or whatever it may be.
Excellent. Well, let's get into that. Let's talk about how to do that. And we're going to do that in the Pay It Forward round. You ready to do that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Hey, guys, I get it. Eating healthy can be difficult at times, and it can be a little bit expensive. But just like anything else, you have to put it into perspective. What is the cost of your health? What is the cost of the health of your family? You're going to pay it up front and now, or you're going to pay for it later on in life. It's just a fact. I can go through story after story. And many of you know the way that I pay it up front is for the last 7 years. I've been drinking this shake called Shakeology. It's a dense nutrition shake. I know you hear me talking about it. Yes, it is associated with Team Beachbody. You know those videos that you see on TV, Insanity, P90X, all that crazy stuff. Shakeology is made by the same trusted company. Everybody knows and trusts Beachbody. And here's the thing. When I was first introduced to this shake, I call it divine intervention, because just that week I had found out that my cholesterol was way out of control. I had to do something about it. And there's 2 reasons why I decided to start drinking Shakeology. One, because on the bag it said improves cholesterol. Bam, it was right there in my face, divine intervention. The second reason was I was told that I could get my full money back. I could consume the entire bag, and I could send the empty bag back and get my money back, no questions asked. I fully intended on doing that. But after 28 days of drinking this shake, and then going in and having my lipids done, my boss, who happened to be a doctor, thought that I was on Lipitor or something to improve my cholesterol, and I wasn't. It was the shake. That's the only thing that I changed in my life, other than starting to do Insanity, which is a little bit insane. But as far as my food consumption, the only thing I changed was drinking this dense nutrition shake. And the benefits of Shakeology does not stop there. It helps me control my weight loss, because I just cannot be as physical as I really enjoy being. I can't run as much as I used to. I have arthritis in my hands. I can only speak for myself that when I'm drinking Shakeology, it controls my esophageal reflux, helps me control my weight, it helps control the chronic joint pain that I have, and so much more. This stuff is also excellent for diabetics, because 1 serving is lower on the glycemic index than 1 apple, and it helps you control your glycemic index. So I could not take it upon myself to send the empty bag back and get my money back. Here I am almost 7 years later, and my entire family is still drinking Shakeology. I encourage you to at least take a look at it. Give it a try. If you truly have no benefits from it, get your money back. You can get more about Shakeology at menofabundance.com/shake, SHAKE. And while you're there, you're going to want to check out the really cute video of me and my son one morning when he was 2. He's 8 now and still drinks Shakeology. And he was sick that morning, and he wanted something nutrition in his body. And as a side note, just the other day we was at a restaurant, and when the waiter asked him if he wanted French fries or broccoli for his meal at the restaurant, he chose broccoli. And I can't prove it, but I have to say it's because of the dense nutrition that he's used to. All right, let's get back to the conversation. Outstanding. So give our abundant leaders 1 to 3 actionable steps that they can take today.
All right. Well, I talk a lot about these steps in my book, and the main thing that when people come in and say to me, we start with nutrition. It's what you're eating, what you're putting in your bodies. You need to be more conscious of that, and eat foods that are healthier. Take the time. That's what we so often don't do. We're so busy in life, we just don't take the time. But we need to slow down a little bit, take the time to make the right choices when it comes to what you're putting in your body food-wise, nutrition-wise, because it does make a difference, tremendous difference. And another tip, and we've talked about this a little bit already, and that's water. You got to drink more water. You got to properly hydrate your body. And when you were talking about what you do in the morning, that made me wonder: have you been listening to me already, or have you been reading my stuff, or been hearing some of my teaching somewhere? Because I do exactly the same thing. But we need more water. Another, of course, we've mentioned a little bit as well, is exercise. We need to be more physically fit. We need to be more physically active. People are not moving enough, and I talk about this in my book. If you can find something, you don't have to work out with weights. You don't have to run 5 miles a day. If you find something that you can do that you enjoy, just do it consistently. If it's walking, or if it's riding a bike, or whatever, you need to be moving. It needs to be motion, and it needs to be consistent. And that's the thing. A lot of people will get started with some kind of crazy program, and it might last a couple of weeks, and they quit. But find something you can do and do it consistently. And that, over a period of time, can make a tremendous difference. And people think, well, if I just get out and walk, it's not going to make that much difference. Well, it can, and it will, if you're consistent at it.
Excellent. And before I ask the next question for the Pay It Forward round, I have a little question I have for you, because I've been drinking the water the way I mentioned earlier, with Himalayan pink salt and about half a lemon, the juice, fresh lemon juice in there. And I picked that up because people in my circle have been doing that, and I learned it probably from the Miracle Morning, or who knows, something that some folks that I listen to, they were doing that, and I've been doing that for months. From your standpoint, from a pharmacist standpoint, what are the benefits specifically with doing that, other than just the water?
Okay. Well, the lemon juice can help in detoxifying the body and cleansing. It does a great job of that. So that's one of the primary benefit of adding that lemon. And also, I recommend it for people who tend to have a problem with kidney stones, because the lemon juice can help in preventing kidney stones. There's a urologist who wrote a book several years ago on natural products, and he talked about that in his book. And he recommended that people do that on a regular basis. So it can have multiple benefits. But and then the Himalayan salt is giving you back the minerals, the electrolytes that your body needs. The sodium, the potassium, the chloride, the calcium, the magnesium. All of these are what's known as electrolytes, or minerals, that are needed for multiple functions in our bodies, but especially for muscle function, and to keep our muscles working properly and contracting properly. And that's why people get muscle cramps a lot of times, because they're deficient in one of those minerals, or several of those, any number of them they can be deficient in at one time, but generally it's one or two that they're deficient in that's causing those muscle cramps.
Excellent. I appreciate you for breaking that down for us on the fly. So, other than the water and some of the stuff you already mentioned, what other daily habits make up the biggest impact in your life?
Well, one of those is sleep. Has in recent years has made a tremendous impact in my life. The sleep and the routine, and the morning routine. Now, I've always had an aversion to sleep. I've always told my wife that I wish I didn't have to sleep. I got too many things I want to do. And
I'm laughing because I'm the same way.
And too much I want to do. I wish I didn't have to go to sleep. And I've had for years forced myself to go to sleep, but I'm a lot better at it. It's not that I couldn't sleep. I just didn't want to. And so I'm much better in trying to get into bed earlier, trying to get up earlier, and have that morning routine. And I know there's a lot of entrepreneurs maybe listening to this show. And as an entrepreneur myself, I've for many years I pushed myself extremely hard, and didn't get the sleep that I needed, and I would stay up too late, get up late in the morning, rushing around trying to get ready and get off to the office, grab a quick bite of something, or grab a protein bar on the way out the door, eat it on the way to work, go flying into the office, already stressed. Before the doors ever opened, before the first customer ever came in, I was already stressed. And so I've changed that in recent years. And so I get up a little bit earlier, and I have a morning routine where I work out in the morning. I have a quiet time and meditation time, prayer and reading a lot of mornings, and I ease into the day. I don't rush into it. I ease into it. And man, it makes a difference, Wally, in the stress factor. So if there's guys out there that are doing like I used to do, check yourself up, and change those habits, what I call bad habits, and start easing into the day instead of rushing into the day. Your life will be better. You'll be more productive during the day as well. You'll have a whole lot less stress, and you'll enjoy living a whole lot more.
Exactly. I can attest to that, because I start my day out. Generally, I get right into a workout. I drink my water, get right into a workout. Generally, I follow a routine on my workout. Then after my workout, I'm sitting out on the back lanai. I've already got my coffee brewed up. I'm sitting back there. It's still dark out. And I'm just sitting there cooling down, listening to the birds waking up, and drinking my coffee. And then as it starts to get light, then I might get up and go start getting stuff ready for the kids to get ready and get out of the house, and me to get ready. And I'm just taking my time, and then I'm fortunate enough to where I get to jump on my bike and ride down to the Pearl Harbor and kayak across Pearl Harbor part of the way into the office, and then I'm just taking my time, when I'm rushed in the morning, the rest of the day is really kind of stressful. But when I start out like that, it's like, how can anything, stuff's going to go wrong, but it's all about my attitude and how I react to it. So that's wonderful.
That's right. Exactly right. Wonderful. Exactly right. And, when you ease into the day, like what we're talking about, it helps your attitude as well.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. So what are you reading or listening to right now that you'd recommend to our abundant leaders, and why?
Right now, we have been going through our book in our mastermind, and I've got also a friend of mine's book that I've just recently started reading, Aaron Walker's A View from the Top.
Oh, yeah, wonderful. Yeah. I love Aaron. Wonderful, wonderful man, and that is a great book.
Yeah. And so that's things I'm working on. We just got a new book for our mastermind, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. Just got it in the other day. It's a book on giving, and right now the title's not coming to mind. I can't think of it, but it's one that we're about to start on, and I wish I could think of the title of it. I can see the cover of it right now. It's a black cover book, and kind of a different looking, but it's on giving and the importance of giving in our lives.
Well, that's all right, no worries. So just share that with me later, and I'll make sure we link that up in the show notes, along with Aaron's book, View from the Top, and definitely along with your book. I will have all of that listed at menofabundance.com in this episode in the show notes.
Oh, yeah. I really appreciate that.
No worries, too easy, and we'll have links to all that. So if you have any specific links as well to your book that you'd rather share, make sure I get that, so we'll link that up in there.
All right. Good
All
deal.
right, so I got one last question for you, and I think we pretty much summed this up, but I want to hear it, get it all into one concise little area here on the show, and that is, what does living a life of abundance mean to you?
Living a life of abundance means to me is sharing with my family, enjoying my family, doing everything I can with them to spend time with them, make memories, and just giving of myself to them, and giving of myself to others. That's abundance. I have a saying, Wally, that I share with people sometimes. This is a quote that I came up with several years ago, based upon one of my philosophies on life, and giving of myself to others, and because so many people have blessed me in my life and given to me. But the saying goes like this. I say the greatest rewards in life come not from you being lifted up by others, but rather from the lifting up of others by you.
Wonderful.
So I love lifting other people up. I love helping other people, take their lives to another level, and so that's abundance to me.
I love it. Man, this has been a wonderful, wonderful conversation. It's gone longer than most, and I truly appreciate every minute of it. I really do. We're going to close this up, and before we do, please leave us with a parting piece of guidance. I don't know if you have anything else left. I'm sure you do, but because you've already shared so many just wonderful nuggets with us. But leave us with a parting piece of guidance in any other way that we can reach you or even get a hold of your book.
All right, yeah. Well, I'll leave you with an Irish proverb, since I'm Scot-Irish by descent. I'll leave you with this Irish proverb that's in my book in the sleep chapter. It says, "A good laugh and a long sleep are the best cures in the doctor's book." So we need to laugh more. We need to sleep more. We need to enjoy life more. And people can reach me at carsonnatural.com. That's my website. They can go there and check it out. I've also got some free guides there. I've got a free guide there on stress. If they go there, they can put their information in and get a free guide on managing stress in their life. So appreciate anybody check it out, carsonnatural.com.
Absolutely. We'll definitely have that linked up in the show notes. So I know many of you guys are driving or working out or doing something other. You can't stop and write that down. Don't worry about it. We've got it in the show notes at menofabundance.com. All right, Dr. Phil, listen, I truly have enjoyed this conversation. I look forward to talking with you much more, because you and I, it's like I'm talking to myself. A lot of the stuff you say is exactly what I tell all of our abundant leaders here, and I tell myself just about every single day.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, Wally. It's been a joy and an honor to be with you today.
Awesome. Aloha.
Aloha.
All right, guys. My takeaway on this is quite simple, and we talked about it in the conversation, but you have to take care of yourself. I say it all the time. I generally eat 70 to 80% healthy, and the rest whatever I want in moderation. In moderation is the key right there. And the other part of that conversation in reference to his book is living until you die, is start living today. It really does not cost as much money as one would think, and it doesn't take up as much time. The time is precious. The time is extremely important. And yes, taking time away from the job can reduce your income. But what are you gaining when you go out and you spend a little bit more time with family? You're gaining so much more. You're gaining those experiences. And whether you're spending it with family or you're just going out on your own and enjoying life, taking a trip you've always dreamed of, doing something on your bucket list, those things are extremely fulfilling. You couple that with helping other people along the way and bringing them with you, it's just the most amazing feeling that I just can't explain. I love sharing this information with you. I love having these conversations, and it makes me feel good to be able to do that. If you're not already doing that, give it a try. Take baby steps. Get started. And make it something new. Make it something you've never done before. Chances are you're going to find something that you didn't even know you was passionate about, and you're going to help a lot of people along the way. Now, go out and live your life of abundance, and make sure to pay it forward.
That's all for today, Abundance Leaders. For more about our guests and the powerful information we shared with you today, be sure to sign up for our mailing list at menofabundance.com. We appreciate your time and look forward to hanging out with you on our next episode. So until then, be sure to pay it forward and live your life of abundance.